And I think it's time, and I think we can start, and I don't see anybody running up on stage to tackle me to stop me, so I think we're ready to begin. So, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. You guys are amazing and awesome. Give yourselves a great round of applause. Yes, best audience ever. And now I'm hoping you can keep that applause going for a couple of co-workers of mine who I've roped into playing this wonderful game with me. Let's hear it for Nate and Michael, co-workers from Portland Center Stage. Come on up on stage, take a couple seats up here for me, all the way over to the end. Now Michael, Nate, and I, we work for Portland Center Stage. That's a theater downtown. We're all carpenters and welders and we build scenery. And I do a little work on the side doing Comic-Cons and doing things like these for you wonderful people. So, I'm sorry, what? This isn't like a conversational thing, only I have the microphone. It gets really distracting when you start talking at me. But I love the enthusiasm, you're awesome, keep that energy up, because we're gonna be making up a party of heroes here in just a minute. So, Michael, Nate, hi, say hello to our wonderful audience.
Hello.
Hi.
You push the thing and then you can talk.
Is that it?
It's like a Star Trek thing, you push the
Yeah.
talk, like...
This is technology in the world.
Alrighty. Is it? We're doing it?
We're here. Okay, so here's how this is gonna work. We're gonna make up a party of heroes. We're gonna have a warrior who is brave and bold. We're gonna have a rogue who is sneaky and stealthy. We're gonna have a mage who is intelligent and magical. And we're gonna have a healer who heals the boo-boos. Okay? So, Mike, we'll start with you since you've never done this before. You've never played with me, never done Dungeons & Dragons as far as I know, definitely never done Freestyle D&D. Tell me, out of a warrior, rogue, mage, healer, which one do you think you'd like to play as?
I'll be a warrior.
A warrior, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the brave soul. And tell me, what is your warrior's battle name that incurs fear in his foes? Ladies and gentlemen, the mighty warrior. Great. We have our warrior. Now we need either a healer, a mage, or a rogue. Nate, which position would you like to fill?
I think I'll go with a rogue.
A rogue, ladies and gentlemen. Very sneaky, very stealthy. Tell me, what is your rogue's name?
My rogue will be Shannon Shattershite. Spelled with 2 T's.
Of course. Great, Shin. And tell me, what is the sneakiest thing that this rogue has ever done?
Oh man, the sneakiest thing that Shannon has ever done. He went on a journey to a castle in Bolvar and...
Deep backstory, very deep, detailed backstory.
And in Bolvar there was this castle and this awful lord, and he was able to steal the fingerling potatoes right off of the plate of the lord.
So stealing potatoes is what he was getting at, guys. He stole some potatoes from a plate. Let's hear it for a warrior and a rogue, ladies and gentlemen. But they are smart enough to know that they're not powerful enough by themselves to take on monsters and villains. So we're gonna be looking out into this audience to find our mage and our healer. Are you ready, folks? Are you ready to play? Great. We're gonna start with our mage, and guys, I need you to look out into the audience and I need you to pick the 3 most powerful, most magical mages you see out here. Guys, show them who you are. Let us hear you, let us see you. Show us that energy, show us that excitement. Guys, who do you see out there? Point them out.
The guy in the very back.
The guy in the very back with the sword?
With the sword.
With the sword. Guy in the very back with the sword. Make your way up. Next, I need number 2. Give me number 2.
Yeah.
Green hair. Come on up, green hair. Come on up. And last one, last choice. Make it a good one. Powerful mage.
Yes. Yeah, in the front here.
In the front here, who?
With the pink shirt?
With the pink shirt. Pink shirt. Come on up. Come on up. Come on over here, green hair. You guys line up right here facing the audience side by side. Perfect. Because we're going to find out a little bit about you to see which one of you is the best possible mage we could take on our party of heroes. And tell me, mage, what is your magical name?
Mysterio.
Mysterio, ladies and gentlemen. And tell me, like We've heard of all like the boring, regular like fire mages and ice mages, and those are all boring and stupid, but you guys are something more unique, something more interesting. What kind of magic do you do, Mysterio?
Thought magic. Silence magic.
It's so mysterious, he can't even speak of it. I'll tell you what, we'll come back to you, Mysterio. You think about that kind of magic and how mysterious it is, and tell me, what is your magical name, mage?
Athena.
The Athena, ladies and gentlemen. And tell me, yes, let's hear it for the Athena. Tell me, what kind of magic do you dwell with?
Psychic magic.
Psychic magic. She knew the question was coming. Tell me, powerful mage, what is your name?
It is Howl.
It is Howl. And tell me, Howl, what kind of magic do you do?
I commune with fire spirits.
Fire spirits, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, mages, take a couple of steps forward for me, a couple steps forward, because it's time for you, audience, to decide who you think the mage is. Oh no, wait, we never found out what kind of magic you do, Mysterio. What kind of magic do you do?
Vegetation magic.
That's why it took so long, it was growing. All right, ladies, the choice is yours. By cheering, by screaming, by clapping, by stomping, by moving your bodies around in ways that it tells me that you are excited about this person. Tell me who the best mage is. Is it gonna be this mage? What about this mage? You can go sit down, thank you very much. Or is it this mage? Ladies and gentlemen, your mage, Mysterio, take a seat up on stage for me. We have a warrior, we have a rogue, and we have a mage. What do we need? All right, guys, party of heroes, look out in this audience because it's time to see who's gonna get your back, who's gonna have your boo-boos, who's got your band-aids for you. We're gonna pick 3 healers out of the audience. Poison Ivy, come on up, step on up in front of the stage. That's 1, I need 2 more, 2 more.
Yes.
Where do we got? With a flower, come on up. And one more, take a good look around. This is your last choice. With a hat, come on up, hat. Let's hear for our potential healers, ladies and gentlemen. And tell me, healer, what is your very tall name?
Jonathan.
And tell me, Jonathan, let's say your warrior went to kick down a door to like charge in, but the door was really thick, so he like stubs his toe on it. How would you heal his toe?
Neosporin and Band-Aids.
That's sensible.
Nice. Tell me, healer, what is your name?
I am the studious Damien Bloodmarch.
And let's say that your rogue was doing like some fancy dagger tricks and was like twirling them around, but like suddenly it spun a certain way that it cut off one of his fingers. How would you heal his finger?
I take the finger, put it back on his hand, and then tell him to just rest for a couple days.
Excellent. And tell me, healer, what is your name?
Amber.
Amber. And tell me, Amber, let's say our vegetation mage grew some sort of like cucumber that he went to eat, but it was like poisonous because he grew it wrong. How would you heal him from poisonous cucumbers?
I'd make him eat it again, and then I'd go get him something that would heal the poison.
All right, you heard it from your healers, ladies and gentlemen. Healers, take a couple of steps forward for me. Because it's time to choose who we think is going to keep our party of heroes alive. Is it going to be this healer? I guess you get to stay. For now. Is it this healer? Or is it this healer? Nope, thank you very much. Go sit down. It's a little bit of a tie between these two, so we're going to find out a little bit more about you guys. So, Jonathan the healer, tell me, let's say that you've run out of Neosporin and Band-Aids. You gotta be prepared for everything.
Gotta watch those spell slots.
Now your warrior got a paper cut on his hand. Quick, what do you do?
Please. I give him an ice pack. Because it might hurt a little, you know, it's sore.
Ice pack for the paper cut, ladies and gentlemen. And tell me, let's say that our vegetation mage had some sort of like flower with thorns growing and he pricked his finger with a thorn. How would you heal him?
I would take another flower, clean up the blood, and then stuff it on top.
All right, folks, you heard it. We gotta pick our favorite healer who can keep our party of heroes alive. Is it gonna be this healer? Or is it gonna be this healer? Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan, your healer! Take a seat up on stage.
I would have voted for you.
All right, we've got our party of heroes, but they need a name. What is the name of this party of heroes?
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit! The party of heroes, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it for oh, shit! Remind us again your names.
Mysterio.
Mysterio.
The warrior.
The warrior.
Shannon Chattershack.
Jonathan.
And Jonathan. Let's hear it for our party of heroes. Now, we can tell you that they're like a party of heroes all we want, but we might just be making things up because we've never actually met them before. So we need to test them. And what better way to test them than with a villain? Do we see any villainous curs out there? Any awful individuals? Guys, who do you think the biggest threat out in this audience is? We need to pick 3 and see who our favorite is. What is it?
Yeah,
in the aisle? Who? Describe them.
or the hair, the
With the hair.
the
Pink hair, pink mohawk.
how could you?
The pink mohawk. All right, pink mohawk. Took him a long time to figure out how to distinguish you from the crowd.
I couldn't come up with mohawk.
All right, let's pick our second possible villain. Who do you see out there who looks evil? Who looks very...
There's a giant gun over there.
Giant gun. I see you, giant gun. Come on up here, Star Wars character. Last one. Last potential villain. Who do we got?
Joker t-shirt.
Joker t-shirt? Okay, Joker t-shirt. Come on up. Let's hear it for our potential villains, ladies and gentlemen. This is the real danger in the world. Quick, tell me, villain, what is your villainous name?
Very angry man.
Very angry man. And tell me, what is your evil mission in life, very angry man?
To upset people very much.
You heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Very angry man wants to upset you very much. Tell me, villain, what is your name?
Odeon.
Odeon. And tell me, what is your evil mission in life?
To resurrect the dead and have them take over the earth.
There you go. Someone's been watching Game of Thrones. Tell me, villain, what is your name?
Count Adderthorn.
Tell me, Count Adderthorn, what is your evil mission in life?
I'm going to summon the color out of space to steal all the color from the world and create color-blighted zombies.
So like a regular Tuesday afternoon. Yeah. Got it. All right. Potential villains, take a couple steps forward because it's time for the audience to decide who the biggest threat here is that our hero of Party of Shh is about to take on. Is it going to be this villain? What about this villain? Not as enthusiastic. Go sit down. Thank you very much. Or what about this villain? No, thank you very much. Go sit down, ladies and gentlemen. Your villain, the very angry man. Go ahead and take the last seat up on stage because we are ready to begin Freestyle D&D. Tell me, where do we find our party of heroes on their day off? In a tavern. In a tavern. Very creative.
Typical.
So, party of heroes, you are in a tavern, and tell me, vegetation mage, what are you doing at this tavern?
I'm trying to find a decent non-alcoholic beverage.
It's responsibility right there.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Okay, very angry man. You've come to find out that the heroes are taking a day off and they've decided to go to this tavern and try to find non-alcoholic drinks.
Oh, wait,
Tell me, villain, very angry man, what do you do when you find out that this is where they are?
I talked to the bartender and replaced all the drinks with prune juice.
Gonna talk to the bartender and replace all their drinks with prune juice. All right, for those of you who don't know, and I haven't explained yet, so it's okay not to know, this is how this is gonna work. They're gonna tell me what they think their character does, then they're gonna roll a 20-sided die. Ooh. Now, a 20-sided die has 20 sides on it, each one having a number correlating between 1 and 20. If they roll a number, a 20 is the most amazing, most miraculous critical hit that you could possibly get. A 1 is just straight up poop, and all the numbers in between correlate on a spectrum. So they're gonna tell me what they think they do, they're gonna roll the die, and I'm gonna tell them what happens according to what number they rolled. So, you're gonna talk to the bartender and try and get him to replace all their drinks with prune juice. Go ahead and roll to see how successful this is. With an 18, ladies and gentlemen. Truly a powerful villain. So the villain walks up to the bartender, he gives him a little bit of money and for the drinks, slips him another bill on the side and says, listen, you see those guys over there trying to get non-alcoholic drinks? I need you to replace all their drinks with prune juice. And the bartender's like, yo, you got it. And now suddenly, each of you have prune juice for drinks. Let's go ahead and roll to see how this affects you. Go ahead and roll. With a 12, you're actually kind of a fan of prune juice. It's not like messing with you too much. You're like, it's all right. It's not the best prune juice I've ever had. With a 15, man, you have prune juice every day. You love this drink.
It's healthy.
Go ahead and roll to see how it affects you with a 3. Man, you were expecting like some creamy beverage, some delicious thing, but you get like this pruny, gross, nasty like prune juice, and it like shrivels up your throat and you start choking on it and you're coughing it up and you can't breathe. Let's roll and see how you do with your prune juice. With a 5. He's hearing the rogue choking on his prune juice, and he gets like that gag reflex when you hear someone else choking on something, and he's also choking on it, and like the smell of the prune juice coming from his own drink and coming from the rogue is just this vicious cycle of like choking and coughing. Villain, you're doing pretty well for your first move. Give yourself a round of applause. Now, our healer and our rogue are debilitated by this prune juice attack. So, warrior, the bravest warrior here, who really liked that prune juice and is just like prepared for the next move. You see the other two choking on prune juice. Quick, what do?
I give them a Heimlich. I don't know why they're choking. The prune juice was delicious. I'm gonna do the Heimlich maneuver on Shannon.
On Shannon. Go ahead and roll to see how the Heimlich maneuver on Shannon works.
That's a 19.
With a 19! There just so happened to be one of those very nifty like poster guides right next to the rogue on how to do the Heimlich properly. So the warrior walked up, read the sign, said, oh, of course, I put my fists right here. Perfect. Gives him a little pull, and rogue, you're perfectly fine now.
I got that.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great.
All right, mage. You were not affected by this prune juice. It wasn't the best prune juice you ever saw, but you saw your warrior walk over to your rogue and give him a Heimlich to bring him back to life. You see your healer is still choking on prune juice. Quick, what do?
I decide to grow some herbs.
Now's the time. If you're gonna grow herbs, you might as well do it now. With an 18!
Grow some herbs.
You pull out a little pot. You pull out a bag of soil, you soil up the pot, you get sprinkle some nutrients in there, a little watering can, throw in some seeds, and prunes come up. Well done, mage.
That's not what I need.
So our healer is still choking. Now, rogue, with your quick old reflexes, you just got Heimlicked, and you're feeling a little better, still coughing up a little bit of that prune juice, but you see your healer is still choking on prune juice. Quick, what do?
Here's, I throw a knife at the bartender.
Go ahead and roll to see if we can throw a knife at the bartender. With a 15. So, you see the situation, you see that you were just choking on prune juice. Clearly the bartender must have had something to do with this. He's the most suspicious one in this whole ordeal. So you pull out one of your very trusted rogue knives and you throw it at him so well that it like slices right through his neck and just like one of his arteries starts bursting out, just blood everywhere. Right? Right? The guy was just doing his job. So the bartender's on the ground in a puddle of his own blood. Now, villain. Oh, hey, healer, we haven't talked to you yet. You're still choking on prune juice.
The blood is making me throw up. I'm like disgusted, I'm out.
So, you're choking on prune juice, you're like throwing up for all the blood that's everywhere. What are you gonna do?
Curl up, fetal position.
Curl up in the fetal position. Go ahead and roll to see how well we curl up in the fetal position. How could this go wrong? With a 1! With a 1! So, Jonathan the healer, you just saw your rogue choking on that prune juice, which made you choke on the prune juice, which made you smell the prune juice and made you choke even more. You start throwing up all over the place because the bartender is just spewing blood everywhere out of his neck. You curl up in the fetal position, but you actually did it on top of his puddle of blood. So now you have his blood all over you, which is making you puke even more intensely. So now you're completely empty, and your stomach is hurting, and you puke out your own stomach. Who's gonna heal you, healer? Villain. Very angry man trying to upset everyone in the world. What a successful entrance to this tavern you just had. That was fantastic. Tell me, very angry man, as you saw all this happen and you see the healer down on the ground just puking his own guts out, quite literally, what are you gonna do next?
I'm gonna tell the janitor to not clean it up.
Gonna tell the janitor to not clean it up. Go ahead and roll to see if we can convince the janitor not to do his job with an 8. Oh, that janitor is all about his job. This is like the most dedicated janitor you've ever seen. And like you come up to him and you're like, I need you to not clean the shop. And the janitor's like, hey, listen, man, I got my job to do here. You better step out my way. Grabs his mop, like flicks it at your feet and like throws your balance off a little bit. You fall on the ground and he starts mopping around you and he gets all that blood off of the healer and the healer is now okay. And you were doing so well, villain. Healer, you just got up off the ground. The janitor managed to mop up off the blood off you. You're no longer choking on this prune juice. You feel revigorated. What do you do first?
I want to sue the bartender for feeding prune juice.
Bartender's dead.
Oh, I forgot in the haze of it all.
So you're serving papers at the corpse on the ground? I'm taking you to court, buddy.
I thank the janitor.
You thank the janitor. Go ahead and roll to see how well we thank the janitor.
15.
With a 15. Okay, he doesn't think you're like sarcastic about it or anything. He thinks it's a genuine like, a thank you, good old thank you, and it's very appreciative. And he's like, hey, thanks, man. Not too many people like look out for people like me, you know. We just do our jobs, and people throw knives at us when we do. Speaking of, rogue. Anybody you want to throw a knife at? That janitor just did his job.
Absolutely.
What do you want to do next, Rogue?
No, I assess the situation, and I see this guy who just got a mop flicked at his feet, and it seemed to disrupt him. And so I go over to start some trouble.
How do we start trouble, Rogue? What's that entail?
No, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna see while he's like distracted and down on the ground. I'm gonna see if I can pick his pocket.
Yeah! Very rogue-like. Go ahead and roll to see if we can pick his pocket with a 6. So there you are, like trying to like pat him down, and apparently there's no pockets in this kind of armor, only compartments. So you can't quite figure it out, and it really looks like an inappropriate touch. And so the bouncer walks over to you, and he's like, excuse me, sir, you can't be doing that to people on the ground. That's not how this place works. And he walks you on over to the security station. They've got you held over there for a couple minutes. Now, warrior, You managed to do a very good Heimlich last time we talked to you. That was a pretty sweet move. Tell me, what do you do next?
I want to go over to the security and reassure them that I don't know Shannon.
Go ahead and roll to see if we can convince security that you do not know this rogue.
With a 13.
With a 13, the fact that you said his name was a little suspicious. Like, you imagine this person walking out of the crowd at a tavern being like, "Excuse me, I do not know Shannon. I needed you to know that." And walk back into the crowd. They're just like one of those moments of like, "Oh, what? Okay, yeah, sure." Now, mage. We saw everybody choking on prune juice. Now everybody's okay. There was someone like bleeding on the ground because they got a knife thrown at them, and there was someone who got tripped by a mop, and someone got taken away by security. What do, mage?
I decide to get out of the tavern as soon as possible.
It's probably better.
Clearly the most intelligent party member. Go ahead and roll to see if we can just book it on out of here with a 2. So there you are, you're looking around, you're holding your pot of prunes that you grew last time. You're looking at the situation, you're like, this does not look good for me. So you go to like just get out, and you just realize that your prunes have rooted through the pot and down to the ground, and they've actually like entrapped you in a root like cage. And you can't go anywhere, and you're stuck in your spot. Now, villain. You got tripped by the janitor and his mop. You got manhandled by a rogue. Not sure what he was after. And then you saw a mage who is completely rooted to the spot. Tell me, what do you do next?
It seems the party has himself covered, so I'm going to go to the janitor and tell him the no-nos that one man did to me. No.
All right, we're gonna tell on the rogue to the janitor. Go ahead and roll with an 8. So you go up to the janitor and you're like, excuse me, I know it's your job to keep this place clean, but I need you to understand that this person did some no-no touch on me. And the janitor starts mopping your face. He's like, we try to keep a clean place here, sir. None of this dirty talk. So now you're getting a mop to the face. Healer. Last we saw you, you got up off that puddle of blood, and you did something. You thanked the janitor, that's right, who is now mopping the face of the villain. Tell me, what do you do next, healer?
I check on the mage to make sure he's not like constrained to like pain. You know, with the roots.
Right. Let's go and check on him. Go ahead and roll to see if we can check on the mage to see if he's okay. With a 17, he's doing great. Oh. He finally feels rooted to the ground. That was bad. So, you go over and the mage is doing great. Like, he wanted to get out, but he's like, you know what? These prunes are growing so well that, like, I'm just so proud of these prunes. Tell me, rogue, as you're over there with security and the bouncers are telling you, like, what the rules of the tavern are about touching other people, what do you do?
Since the janitor seems to be doing a better job than we are, I sort of sidle over. Do I have any money? Do I have money?
You tell me.
I have money. And
That's how it works.
so I take my money and I just slip him some, and I'm like, hey, keep working on that guy. You're doing good. Just help us out here a little.
So you're gonna pass some money at the janitor and tell him to keep doing what he's doing. Go ahead and roll with a 10. What do you guys think? Is a 10 good enough? No. You're literally like being talked to by security, and you like try to stealth your way over to the janitor and like whisper at him and slip him some cash, and the guards are just like,
this is between me and him.
So they pin you to the ground, they tackle you down, they hold you in a lock, they tie your arms together, and they say, we don't accept drug deals in this area. You and your shady dealings. And they take you into the security office where they're gonna hold you for a while. Now, warrior, you saw these big burly bouncers take your rogue into a security office. Tell me, what do you do?
I think this rogue is the creepiest person. But I am itching for a fight, so I'm going to try and get him out of there. I want to fight my way past security.
You're gonna fight your way past security?
Yeah!
Go ahead and roll to see if we can fight our way past security.
Alright.
With a 4!
It's not great. It's not great.
So you run over, you see them taking your buddy into the security office, these big guys, and you just charge over at them, you give them a mighty warrior's yell. Ah! And they hear you coming and they're like, hey, stop. And they put their hand on your head and you can't quite reach them. They're holding you in place and they start telling you the rules about touching other people and charging at them. Very inappropriate behavior, gentlemen. Now, Mage, you got rooted to the spot by your very good growing prunes in your pot of plants. Tell me, what do you do next?
I tell the prunes to go and attack the bouncers.
Yeah! Go ahead and roll to see if we can get those prunes to attack the bouncer with a 17! A mighty mage we have chosen for our party of shoot. So, you start whispering to your prunes as they keep growing their roots all over you, and you tell them, hey, go get those bouncers. I hear they have good nutrients for you. And the roots completely uproot themselves and they just start awkwardly spider walking their way over to the security office, and they completely face hugger tackle one of the guards, takes him down to the ground, and he shrivels up just like a prune. A mighty good move. So, one of the bouncers has been taken out. Villain, the bouncers are being taken out by sentient plants. Never expected it. Tell me, what do you do?
I'm gonna try and trip the wizard.
We're gonna try and trip the wizard. Go ahead and roll to see if we can trip the wizard, much like the janitor tripped you. With a 3. What you didn't realize is some of the prunes left some roots behind, reinforcing the mage's legs. So you go to sweep the legs, Karate Kid style, from back in the 80s or 90s. And it actually shatters your foot because it's such a strong root, and now your left foot is completely crushed and splintered and gross. Healer, quick, what do you do?
I feel so bad for the nice man, I go to help him.
Go ahead and roll to see if we can help the poor man who just fell. With a 20! This is the most powerful heal you've ever done in your life! You felt such sympathy for this poor man who tried to sweep the leg of your mage. You heard the crunch and you said, I cannot let this go. And you heal him with your magical Neosporin and Band-Aids. You pour it all over his ankle and foot. You put Band-Aids all over his foot, and you hear all the crunching just sort of mending itself back into a regular foot. And now your foot is so much better than before. It's like a more powerful foot. Incredible. So the villain is more powerful, at least in his left foot, than he was before. Rogue, you got taken into the security office with your arms tied behind your back, but one of the security guards was taken down by the prune monster. What do you do?
Invisibility, just straight, just poof.
Go ahead and roll to see how well invisibility just poof works. With a 6. So he keeps one of those little like smoke powder things, bombs, in his back belt on his utility nook.
Yeah, my utility nook, right there.
Words are great. And he manages just to shimmy his hands that are tied behind his back just to get into that little compartment, pulls out one of these smoke bombs, and he's like, what's the one-liner you would have done?
This is next to my knife attaché.
And then suddenly, poof! And this smoke cloud comes up, and the guards are coughing and they can't see anything, and as the smoke dissipates, we see him on the ground sleeping because it was actually a knockout powder he accidentally grabbed. So you are passed out on the ground in the security office. Warrior, you did a great job of like charging up to the security guards, and they kind of held you in place, and you didn't do so well.
Well,
I mean, the charging was really good.
yes, thank you.
It was believable. Tell me, as the guard is holding you by the head and you're swinging at him, what do you do to get the upper hand?
I do that.
Hey.
I do that thing. He's pushing my head, and then I like take a step back, and he falls over. You know that thing?
That old trick.
That old trick.
Go ahead and roll to see if we can use his own momentum against him. With a 1. Oh, you're so clever. You're so smart. You're like, as long as I take a step back, his whole momentum will throw him off balance, and he'll fall right before me, and I will have conquered this foe. So you do that. You take a step back, throw him off of his balance. His entire momentum throws him forward, but he's such a big guy and you took such a small step back that he falls right on top of you, crushing all the wind out of your lungs. Just you can't breathe. You have this huge bouncer crushing your chest cavity to the ground. Mage, you've got reinforced like prune root legs holding you in place. Your prune monster charged at the security officers and took one down and shriveled him up. What do you do next?
I decide to shrivel another one up.
Very creative. It worked the first time, might as well try it again. We're gonna try and have the monster attack someone else with a 3. Unfortunately, that prune monster got its fill, and all the prunes have fallen off the branches, and now it has withered away, and all the leaves have fallen. Prune juices, trees have leaves, right? I know things about plants.
Sure.
They do in this world. So, this little tree just completely shriveled up and has fallen on top of the security guard that it took out before, and it is no longer living.
Oh.
I know, we were so attached to that prune monster.
Some of us literally.
Villain! I'm not sure what your plan was for this whole thing, but I'm sure it looked very little like this.
You'd be quite surprised.
They do tell you to prepare for everything. Tell me, what is your next move?
Since a healer just healed me, I've never felt so much love in my life. I hate it. I'm going to look him in the eyes and say, betray all your friends, pretty please.
Gonna try and pull the healer to the dark side. Go ahead and roll to see if we can get the healer to join your side. With a 7. Healer, he tried to like convince you to come over to his side. What does that do for you?
What side? You're just a dude. I thought. Are you bad?
So he's telling you to come over to his side. He's telling you to betray all your friends. What do you do as he's trying to convince you to like betray everyone you trust and love?
Not your real friends!
Recall he got a...
Stop projecting.
I grab like a bottle and smash it over his head.
Gonna grab a bottle and smash it over his head. Go ahead and roll to see if we can grab a bottle. Universal gesture for grabbing bottles. With a 14. So you get a good grip on this bottle. And you swing it around and smash it on his head, and it shatters all over the place, and one of like the little shards manages to like bounce up in under his helmet, and it's like bouncing around in there, and every time he moves it like cuts a little bit farther into his neck, so it's like really annoying, but he can't pull his helmet off or else he'll show everybody who he is. It's a vicious cycle. Rogue, you're passed out on the ground. Let's roll to see if you wake up.
That's fair.
With a 17! Jumps up, reinvigorated, hands still tied behind his back, and he says, and that's how I turn invisible. and looks around and he's still visible. Quick, Rogue, what do you do as the other security guard starts charging at you?
I can't see out the door. Thinking how my warrior would think, I definitely move out of the way and I use his momentum against him to slam him into the wall and I say, "Not today, Satan!"
Go ahead and roll to see if we can use his own momentum against him to charge him into the wall with an 18! Very slyly, this very awesome, with a very good quick reaction rate, Rogue manages to skillfully dodge out of the way as this rhinoceros of a security guard charges at him. He manages to put his arms out in such a way that it catches on the security guard's belt, the things that were tying up his hands, so he's loose. The security guard runs into the wall, smashes into it, thank you 10, and the whole wall just crashes open like a big old juice guy just smashing through the wall. I don't have the rights to.
Really? Yeah, that's fair.
I can't advertise their stuff. It's Juice Man.
Juice Man, yeah.
So burst through the wall. Now there's a big old hole in the wall to the security office. Warrior, what do you do next?
Am I still pinned under the security guard?
You are running out of breath very quickly underneath this very giant security guard. They got a very good budget for security at this tavern.
Oh, man. Why am I so small in this fantasy game?
Should have described your size.
Well, that's too bad. I say, I'm a very big man.
Go ahead and roll to see how much of a big man you are.
Yeah!
With an 11.
I'm 11 feet tall.
His ego is much bigger than him. So, you think you're a very big man, but you're actually an average sized man.
This is mean.
I mean, I can't help your self-perception of yourself. So what do you do now that you're a very average-sized man underneath a giant security guard crushing the air out of your
I
windpipe?
believe in myself, and I wriggle free of this very large rhino guard.
You do what to the rhino guard?
I wriggle myself
You
free.
wriggle yourself free.
I'm
Go
a
ahead.
good wriggler. 7.
With a 7. So again, about the inappropriate touch and wriggling underneath someone's body.
Ow.
The security guard gets up, grabs you by the scruff of the neck, and he's like, "We're going to HR." Right next to the security office is the HR department at this tavern. And that's where you go to file a report with this security guard who says you inappropriately wiggled against his body. Mage. You still rooted to the ground, your prune monster shriveled up because it ate too much of that security guard. They got very big security guards at this tavern. It's pretty impressive. What do you do next, Mage?
I want to summon a Venus flytrap to try to eat another security guard.
Clearly the villain is not the threat in this story. The villain's just a side character, tripping into things. Okay, so you're gonna get a Venus flytrap to eat one of the other security guards. With a 15, he manages to sprout this Venus flytrap, which crushes its way through the ground right underneath the security guard that was taking the warrior to the HR department, and just eats him in one whole gulp, takes him back down to the crevice in the ground, and that security guard is now gone and being digested for the next several hours. Let's hear it for the mage! I feel like I can't call you the villain anymore. Just mildly upset guy. Hey, mildly upset guy who happens to be in this story. What do you do next?
Okay, so I yell there's a fire, but there is no fire.
Pure evil genius! Go ahead and roll to see if we convince people that there is a fire when there is no real fire with a 7. So you take a deep breath to shout as loud as you can that there's a fire going on even though there's no fire. And then you remember that there's that piece of shard of glass inside your helmet that's digging its way into your neck, and as you take that deep breath, it just tenses your muscles just enough to get that little shred down into your lungs and into your windpipe, and now it's cutting its way through inside your innards, and you just got bubbles of blood coming out as you try to scream. I'm sorry?
Where are the bubbles coming from?
Like that little hole that the shard came through. See, it's all wrapping around. It's all looping in on itself. Callbacks. Now, healer, the guy you spent all that time healing who then tried to get you to betray your friends, seems to be gurgling up blood.
Family-friendly show.
So what do, healer?
I hurl. I'm throwing up again.
Oh, hurl! Throwing up again.
Yeah.
Not sure what the strategy is behind this, but go ahead and roll to see how well the throwing up works out for you.
There's too much blood.
With a 3. Do you remember you weren't able to throw up enough before that your guts were coming out? Like they were still dangling from your mouth this whole time, and you've done nothing about this. And there you are trying to throw up even more. You have thrown yourself up inside out. Now your skin is inside, your guts are outside. We can see your skeleton in a very strange way. We don't know how to feel about this. We're thoroughly disturbed. Rogue, you did like a fantastic dodge move that liberated your arms and like crushed a hole in the wall in the security office where they were holding you. What do you do next?
I open the door and I assess the situation and I look out here and I see an inside-out man and somebody gurgling up blood and I think that's the worst threat. So I walk over to him and I kneel down and I say, I'm having a good day. Are you having a good day? And I pour a healing potion down his face mask.
Go ahead and roll to see if we can like commiserate with the villain and pour some healing potion on him with a 20! So the rogue is reflecting on what a good day he's had and what an awesome dodge move that was and how slick that made him look in front of the cameras and everything. The security cameras at the top of this tavern were watching him the whole time. And you start pouring this healing potion all over this villain who's like gurgling blood on the ground, and you're telling him what a great day you had and hope that he had a great day, and it makes him feel great, and he gets up and he's all healed and he's no longer gurgling things up, and the little shard of glass pops out of his lungs and he feels even better than he did before, and then all that healing potion trickles on over to the healer, who then gets turned right back inside again, and then it trickles on over to the warrior and the mage, and they feel a little bit better than they did before because there wasn't anything really bad happening to them, and everyone sits down to have a beer at the end of the day at that tavern to enjoy the rest of their day off. And that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for a party of shit. Let's hear it for the very upset man.